She made this t-shirt that says, I heart you.
To my universe, I'm back. And first and foremost, I'd like to start off by saying I had to get me some rest because I had some things come up. And so I didn't want to end up with a lot on my plate. So, yeah, a couple weeks turned into a couple months. And I apologize for that. But remember when I said I was going to come back with part two for the Justice card? Well, this is where we at, and we going into more of the details. But first, I just want to say, if you got things coming up, try not to put too much on your plate, because a part of being in the feminine energy is basically to receive the calmness and the nurturing of the self, and to show yourself grace, and not to feel some type of way when rest comes approaching at your door, because you know me being in my past, I was, more on the masculine side than the feminine side. I was a little tomboy out here. So, what comes with it, the hustle and the bustle and the restlessness. So, actually, when I was in that energy, more of the feminine energy, I used to feel some type of way about getting rest. So, and then it was like when I actually did try to lay down and get rest, and I don't mean just, lay down or whatever, and like on some lazy shit. But when it was time for me to get some rest, I used to feel restless about it. So I had to take time out because rest came knocking at my door. Plus some other things had came up for me. Like right now, I'm in the middle of being involved with a wedding, and also my birthday came around, and a couple of my other family members, their birthdays came around, and I did not give none of this stuff any thought around the time I did this video, because it hasn't come up until after I did the first video for it. So this is the Justice Card part two, and what I said, we was going to go more into detail about it. And what I meant by that is we gonna go more into detail of the symbolism, because that's what's important. Because it's going to teach you how to, tap into your intuition a little more. Although reading from the book is good, because you also want to get the logic and other people's opinions, especially the authors that have written these books. Get other perspectives and perceptions. There's nothing wrong with it. Compare notes, and compare your experience to what they experienced when they was writing out the book, because back in them times, things can be different, because we are definitely in some different times right now, man. Because the way this world is right now, all the stuff I've been seeing and hearing about, like, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but right now we are in some dark times, but it's also some good times as well. But when I mean we are in some dark times, it means like morality just went out the window. Yeah, that's gone. From far as from what I see. And a lot of people is hurting right now. So I just hope that if this is you, that you remain strong and be patient with yourself and everything that you're going through. And, show yourself some grace, and try not to focus on all the distractions that's taking place in this world, because it feel like a real shit show out here. Sometimes when I step out my door, I be hesitant, because I just be like, nah, like. But I try to remain focused on what's most important, and that's for me to continue to work through my own traumas, my own shit that I have not touched. Because when I got on this journey, I had found that I had a lot that I had to work on, and I don't have no problem with it. So, once again, like I said, I apologize for staying away too long. You know, hopefully, if you went through here, this is, me sharing my journey on how, to heal thyself the way I'm going about doing it. Because, I mean, like, I could tap on it on a universal scale too. I've been trying to do that by showing examples. So, because I know my examples ain't no different from other people's examples. Like, there is not one person that ain't been through what I went through. So, that's why I'm doing this. Now, for the Justice card, you're dealing with the details here. We have a sword, and the sword is colored in blue and colored in like a gold or a yellow. Now, the gold stands for the solar plexus, and as far as the spiritual, that means your willpower. So basically, that has something to do with how you wield the power that you hold in your hands. And the power he's holding in his hands is the power, not only the power of thought, but the power of the tongue, as well as the power of emotions. Because the sword is blue, and that has everything to do with the throat chakra, and the throat chakra is the power of the tongue. And when I think about blue, I also think about water, and water is also equated to emotion. So the power of emotion. So these three things, emotions, tongue, and willpower, is all in this, or the power of thought. The power of thought, the power of the tongue, and the power of emotions, all wielded in this one tool that he holds in his right hand. And being that it's in his right hand, hand, that's the put out, what you put out into the I don't want to say the world, because it's not just the energy you put out in the world, but the atmosphere. I'll just say the atmosphere, because I'm trying to make this as universal as possible. So, whatever you put out in the atmosphere with that right hand, which is the power of the tongue, the power of emotions, and the power of thought, is what he's using for this particular tool. So, for me, my opinion, my opinion, the way I go about it, you know, that if I was, putting myself in a placeholder of the shoes of this person, I would be mindful of the things I say. I would be mindful of the emotions that come in, because, Justice card is a balance card. It's all about balancing out your thoughts, balancing out what you say. Like, try to, I ain't gonna say so much as try to be neutral, because, you know, sometimes um things happening and won't let you be neutral. So, like, for say, if you have somebody walking all over you, it's the time to stand up for yourself. So that means you use your words to stand up for yourself, a form of protection, and not against physical threat. But if it do become physical, then you got a damn sword in your hand, so start wielding that mug. Swing it. But anyways, to get off of the negative grid about it, like, you will use this sword to as a tool for healing. Because if you don't use it for a tool for healing or uplifting, or trying to better people on a conglomerate scale, when they cross your path, because you don't go out forcefully, you know forcing things down people's throat, and this, that, and the other. So, like, if somebody was to come in your space and you have this sword with willpower and the power of the tongue, power of thought, power of the emotions, the reaction to whatever action that has taken place is to be mindful. But like, if it became threatening for you, then you take it to protect yourself. But with mindfulness, because you can use your words to stand up for yourself and not have to have it turn into a physical altercation or anything like that, or what they would say, standing on business. You don't have to react in that way. But this is just how I would do for me. But for for other people who know about the sword and how to use it, they use it the way they want to use it. I'm not trying to stop nobody from using whatever tool they using the way they want to. I'm just showing you simply how I would go about using it, and it's not to make it seem like, ooh, got my cat hairs on me. Sorry. It's not to make it seem like because I'm trying to be better than you. It's because I'm just trying to be better than I used to be. Because before I got on this journey, I wasn't so mindful. Okay. But as I got older, because now that I'm at 45, and I've been on this journey for a nice little minute now. Now I can say I've been on this journey for a nice little minute, but I'm definitely mindful nowadays because there's so much BS going on in the world. I don't need to be another person to add on to that shit. So, if anything, I'm trying to use my sword for healing, not only myself, but others. And that's only if they ask me to do that. I'm not going to force myself on people. So, if somebody like wanted some advice on how to do something, then I'll give it to them. But other than that, I just use it for myself for now. So, but on a collective scale, you use the sword to either uplift or to protect yourself, and try to be mindful while doing it. Now, the scale. The scale is to show the this not only Libra energy but balance. You want to have balance in all that you do. I am an advocate for balance. Even though I try not to deal with labels or like that, but like I say, I have to name something for you to understand what I'm talking about. So now, since we talking about this thing called scales, the scales is definitely for balance. Not only that, but it's another willpower, because you could willfully be balanced or you could willfully be imbalanced. It's about whatever you choose to be. So with that sword and these scales, and being that it's on the left hand side, the receiving side, it means that you are willfully receiving balance. So you are willfully choosing to wield that sword the way it needs to be wielded in your life. Now, I don't know how it needs to be wielded in a collective life. I don't know how it wills to be or needed to be wielded in an individual life. But as far as my life, I'm going to use it balance in the sword together to be wielded the way it needs to be wielded in my life. So that means I'm either going to use it for a tool for healing, and very rarely I will use it for a tool of protection, because the more and more I move about the way I move on my journey, I find myself not needing to, worry about protection, because I am already protected. So there's no argument there. And then, you know what? I thought about the scale, because there's two pillars here, like it is with the high priestess. And that was the way they explained it, was about the Jacob and the Boaz. So when I was thinking of, or joking in the Boaz, when I went and finally did the research on that and meditated on that, it led me to the Kabbalah where they talked about the two pillars in between the tree of life. So it's like the mercy and the severity um pillars. So that scale with them two pillars can mean that those two pillars, you are balanced, you balance those two pillars out. You mastered balancing those two pillars. So, and that's why your whole robe is in red, draped in red, because that means your foundation is strong, your vitality is strong, it's balanced. You wielding a sword with balance, because you are the placeholder of justice, and this is justice in the upright now. And then when I looked at this veil back here, it kind of looks red and a little purplish, or with purple hints in it. But when I looked at the older version of the tarot cards, that thing was like an indigo purple, meaning, the crown chakra color. So because that veil is that color, that means that this individual right here has mastered justice in a way that it can, issue out justice, whether it be in its own life or whether it be on a universal scale. Now, whatever justice that is, because everybody see and view justice differently. Even as a collective, we still have different perceptions and perspectives in life. Like you'll see something one way, and I'll see it a whole nother way, and vice versa. So, and being that this background is yellow, that means that's the power of willpower. That's why the crown is also yellow. But in the middle, it has a square blue gem there, and it's a square. So that means the four corners and four in the square is stability. So whatever this individual is, it's aligned with this sword because it's the same color as the sword, as far as the blade. So that means that third eye is stabilized. Because I just look at that as the third eye because it looks like it sits right directly in that same area. And being the this being got the as above so below going on with the scales and the sword, and then he got the 1 foot out and the right, and that's the right foot, meaning they whatever that this justice card energy is projecting, it's going to be grounded. And not only is it going to be grounded, but everything is stabilized. So that's what this card means as far as the similar. Oh, and the little sash in the green robe, that means that it's open heart, its heart is open, it's pure. It means it's open with love. And if you act in love, then you don't really have to worry about negativity because you know that love conquers all. And some people don't believe that, but I'm a true believer in that because when you acting out of love, then you have master balance, because to order to master balance, you have to know what love is and how to act out of love. And you're not to the point where people are walking all over you, or situations are just dragging you all over the place. You're not being dragged to and fro because you basically align with everything in this card that I just spoke of earlier. Oh, and I also noticed that on the clasp of the robe, there's another square, but that square background is white. That means spirit. That means purity. And then it has a circle, a red circle inside of that, meaning that person is centered in spirituality, rooted in spirituality. And what I mean by spirituality is meaning that they just simply align with the higher things in life, meaning their higher self, or God, the creator, but within, not out, because everything starts on the inside. and then it materializes on the outside. So now that we don't got through the symbolisms, which is important, you should already know how to read this card if it's in the reverse now, because it simply means the opposite of everything on here. And you definitely have to go off situations. I mean, like, because one thing I did find with reading a book, reading out the book, is that it could be bigger than somebody getting married or somebody getting a divorce or somebody getting ready to go to court. It could be other aspects of life that you don't even think about. Or, you get injustice worldwide, globally, or you get injustice locally, or you get injustice for yourself, or justice is being served to you. So, but in the reverse, that means you got some lessons to learn, and this go turn into a karmic situation. And yeah. So that's pretty much part 2 of the Justice card, because we already talked about it in the reverse. We already talked about it in the upright. We talked about it far as what phase it's in. We even talked about how I had my experiences with the Justice card. But on a universal scale, this is what these symbols can mean. And if you want to make them mean something else, then go ahead. You can do that too. I mean, everybody's intuition is the same, but different aspects. Nobody's collectively all the time thinking the same. Sometimes someone may come up with a different idea. And, but collectively we do resonate. So that's how that works. Now, I'm going to go on and get up out of here. And once again, like I said, I apologize for taking too long to put this video out. But I really did have some things going on. And I also had some long overdue rest to catch up with. Because like I said, if you're not taking that seriously, then you can burn out. And I definitely ain't trying to burn my little light out. So, love, live life. Can't go, no beat it.